This is Gemara Zevachim, Daf Ayin Tes, and really we're holding in the very top of Ayin Tes Amud Aleph. We're gonna scroll back a drop just to the bottom of Ayin Ches Amud Beis. We like all the learning to be an incredible schos, Refuah Shalema for Gabriel Simcha b'Miriam Ahuva b'Seich Sha'ar Chaylei Yisrael. So we're on the very bottom of Ayin Ches Amud Beis, in which we ended with a stira. We ended with a stira regarding the mechatas, whether it has to do with the amount that it gives color or not. The Gemara answered, and from the Teretz really will throw us right back into everything. Amar Abaye, Loi Kasha. As we turn over to Ayin Tes Amud Aleph, it's not a kasha, says Abaye. Why not? The quintessential answer when you have a stira. Hadidei, Hadirabe. One is his own opinion, Rabbi Yehuda, and one is his Rabbi. Titania, we'll read the Brisa, then we'll explain which is which. We learned in a Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda, Imer Misham Rabbi Gamliel, Ein Dam, Mevatel Dam. Rabbi Yehuda said in Rabbi Gamliel, Dam is not Mevatel Dam, Ein Roik Mevatel Roik, Vein Me Raglayim, Mevatelin Me Raglayim. So Rabbi Yehuda himself, which says, once you have a roiv of me mikvah, it will be mevatel the mechatos. That's what he himself actually holds. But the other brisa, which says that even if it's yayin lavan, we view it as if it's red, that goes according to his Rabbi. As we're seeing over here, there's a more chamer to keshita that ain't dam mevatel dam vechulu. Says the top Rashi. Let's allow Rashi to fill in the blanks. Hadirab. That we view it, even though it's not red, but we view it as if it's red. That's shita of Rav Yehuda's Rabbi de Machmir bebitel gechen de Machmir bemin b'minoi. Just like as we just quoted from the Brisa, he's Machmir, he's stringent by one item being mevatel itself. V'amar loy batel klal u'min b'she'ena minonami dislay de batel. The Kaim Malay calls a man Shamar and Muat Nikr, even if you could see it a little bit baraiv, loy batel. So that shita, so it's an interesting teretz, meaning usually often when we say Hadidei Hadirabe, it's a straight makar. Over here, the makar just is that the rabbi is more machmir. And because he's more machmir, it's similar Bittel's cases, machmir nami v'amar, techa de marei and shaveh, if they look the same, going yayin lavan b'mayim, then the reign is kilu adam lo sagilei berubam. Teretz number one had answered the stira that the Rabbi Yehuda, that's a machmir, and says we view this white wine as if it is red wine, and therefore it's going to cause a problem, and therefore having a stam roiv is not going to be enough. That is Shita's Rabbi Yehuda's Rabbi Yehuda b'Shem Rabbi Gamliel, who's a machmir by bittul. Teretz number one. Rava Mar comes on Rava. Rava says a different teretz. B'talisha toichaitar v'gabay tamei askin. Now we're done with the unique case. The case of the mechatos is a bucket, a tali, that it's gabay, its inside is tamei. Yes, it's toichai. No, I said backwards. His gabay, it's outside is tamei. Excuse me. Toichai, it's inside is tahar. Dimi dina. In such a scenario where again the inside is tahar, the outside is tamei. Sagile b'choldu. Really, it's enough to have any amount of mikvah water in order to retire the outside. We have to deal with the outside, which is tamei. So a little bit of mikvah water really will take care of that. The Rabbanan who de gazru, and the reason it doesn't work is exer the Rabbanan de gazru del machayis alayu. We're worried, and the Rabbanan said not only do you have to make the outside touch the mei mikvah, you even have to make the inside. Why? Because they're worried about del machayis alayu. Maybe you'll be worried about the mei mikvah becoming mechatos becoming ruined. V'loy mevatalei, and he will not. Here the word is not mevatel to matzabilei. The Gerson Shai changes it from he will not put in the mikvah properly. Kimandika riboy ribuya loy tzarech. But now once it's going to be a roiv, then it's not going to be necessary. So that's how Rava answers up the steer. Let's look at Rashi. Rashi will explain a little bit deeper. Nachamal Rava Amar Leilam Chatani. Really, it's all Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Sirle, and he's more machmer like his Rabbi. So why in one brisa did he say it's sagi b'roiv? It suffices to have roiv mei mikvah. Is in this unique case that inside is tar and the outside is tamei. Shenit b'gamay b'tomas mashkin derabanan. The outside of the kli became tamei derabanan, touching a liquid. As we all that it's just a specific din that the outside is going to be tamei. So in that case, really, the medina sagile b'knisas mayim the teichei kaldu. Really, once you have a little bit of water inside, it's fine. It goes up to the lip. And really, the din is that the inside doesn't have to be toivelt. But what's the problem? Again, we're in Rashi. Rashi explaining to us what we just read in the Gemara. V'rabbananu degazri lines from the wide lines. Sheit v'lenu yaf. Chazal said, B'etzem, you don't need. B'etzem, one dot touching the inside overflows enough. Chazal were concerned and said you have to toivel it properly. Because if we're going to tell you it's enough with toiveling the outside, or you're going to be nervous about the mechatos, and you don't want to get any main mikvah into it, and become possible of lamatu leilis fast clean. You're not going to actually put it into the mikvah till it goes up to the lip. Therefore, they made a gzeira la tabila yulepoislav kimdik ribuya. So let's start at la tefila toichei chomra ba'amus. It's time chomra, but it's not going to be a kasha and anything else. That is going to be the teretz of Rava. It continues the Gemara, Amar Rava, Amar Rabbanan b'taima. Says Rava, the Rabbanan said that the reason when you have a mixture is have to do with b'taima. So this is really going back. We just had two terutzim, right? We started off the day with Abaye saying Hadi de Adirabe. Now we had a Rava saying the unique case of B'delisha Teichaitar V'gabay Tame. So now says the Gemara, let's speak out the dinim. Says Rav, Amar Rabbanan b'taim, but the Rabbanan said the din regarding the tam. V'amar Rabbanan, the Rabbanan said the din b'ruba regarding roib. V'amar Rabbanan b'chazuta. So there's three different dinim. There's a din of tam that all has to do with the taste. There's a din of roiv, it has to do with the majority. And then there's a din of chazuta, has to do with the appearance. Explains the Gemara. Min b'she'inai minai b'taima. If we have a mixture of one type of food mixed with something that's not its min, then it all has to do with if you taste it. Min b'minai, if you have something mixing with its own min, then b'ruba has to do with roiv. And when there is a chazuta, then it has to do with the mare. Meaning, what does it mean when there is a chazuta? Something which is an entity that is not totally in taste, but rather appearance. What does that mean? Let's look at Rashi towards the end of the Amid. Rashi explains that second white line. Meaning, the mikvah is only to do with the taste. Do you taste the mikvah? Obviously not. And therefore, the case of the mikvah is not going to be dependent upon the taste, but rather will be dependent upon the chazuta, upon whether you could tell, whether you could see the puzzle waters inside. It says the Gemara, upliga, and that which we're saying over here is the Rav Elazar. It's argues in Rav Elazar. Dam Rav Elazar, 7 lines to the bottom. Just like one mitzvah is not mevatel the other. Kach eini surei mevatlin zu ezu. You cannot be mevatel an iser. Says Rav Elazar. Bittul only works between iser veheter, but not two different iser items. Says the Gemara. Whoa. Man shamis le'damar ein mitzvahs not lezu ezu. Who's the opinion that says one mitzvah is not mevatel the other? This is Shidas Hilleli. 3 lines at the bottom. The Tanya learned in a brayso. But regarding Karban Pesach, Amru Laval Hilazakin, Shaya Korchan Bevas Achas, the Oichlon. What the hell does Sadik Yudin do? We know this from the Haggadah. He would be Karchan, he would wrap together the matzah, the karban pesach, and the marar, and eat it all together. Mishom shenemar matzah sumayrim yachlu, because he says that the matzah and the mar you have to eat together. And I look at the last Rashi, v'lo asi tam marum vatli tam matzah. Rav Hillel is not concerned. What do you mean? You mix them all together, the taste is going to be mavatal each other. So what do we see? We see that tam, with regarding to a mitzvah, is not mavatal each other. So says the Gemara that this Shitas Rav Elazar is in deference, is not going according to the explanation of Hillel Hazakin. Continues the Gemara in Testament Beis, the top line. Tanu Rabbanon, Charsan Shal Zav Vizava. A shard of a Zav and a Zava. What is this? Says Rashi. Avite Shalmei Raglayim. This is a urinal that broke. Vinishbar v'charsav boloi mimei raglayim, and the pottery of the urinal is absorbed in the meraglayim. Hazavim ve'im v'tamim b'mas, and the lach is by picking it up becomes tamim. Avshim v'lamim v'shenivlo'u timeim. Knam yisach skelu ma'isal b'gemar dinida charsan shabalu mashkin timein. If this shard of pottery absorbed the liquids, it's tamei. And it falls into the airspace of an oven, not tanur tame. Why? Because the liquid is going to come out. So says the Gemara, what do? Pam rishon v'sheni tame. If it was washed once or twice, it's tame. Shlishi, but the third time tar. When is this? When you put water inside of it. That's where 3 washings is going to help. Afilu asari tamei. V'los ben Yaakov Omer no. Shlishi afilu shlosa t'chamayim 3 times is enough tar. So man shamas lei daramin meminai. Loi batel. Says the Gemara according to Tanakama that said that the only way to be mevatel the meiraglayim over here is with the mayim. That means he's holding min b'mina. He's not batel. Who is that? Rav Yehuda. The problem is Raminu pishta tiv atoi nida. We have pishta that was spun by a nida, mesita itar. When it moves, it is tar. V'mayalach. But if it was moist from the nida's saliva as she spun these threads, then tame mishamash kepia. Rav Yehuda Imer afa roitvay b'mayim tame mishamash kepia. Vafilu tuva marababa shiny roik dekar. So the kasha was, why don't we say that after washing it 3 times, there's no longer any of the liquid, it should be tar? Says Rabba, but you know why? Sheni roik dekar. Roik is different because it penetrates deeply within the flax, and therefore, even with washing it, you're not going to remove it. Whereas in the other case of the Ovid Shalmei Raglayim, of the Zava, there we can assume multiple washings it will completely remove it. If the dam became mixed with the blood of a pasul carbon, then what do? You pour it into the Amma. The Amma is the canal that runs through the Beis Hamikdash, that everything was swept into there for cleanup. Says the Gemara b'Maika Mifli. What is the machlekes Rav Eliezer who said that the mixed blood is not a problem because it's going to be mavatal the other blood? So Amar Rav Zayd v'goizing zera b'mikdash kamifli. The shaila is, in the Beis Hamikdash, do we make gzeira? Do we make additional safeguards? Demar savar tanigam old kaiser, we indeed do, and therefore we have to throw out this mixture of dam, even if there's a din of bit. Olamar savar loy gazrin. Rabab Amar no the kuliyama kaiser. So what's the machlekes hachabedama tamsis matzoi leraboy saldama nefesh? Kamifli. The case is, you have excess dam tamsis. Again, dam tamsis is the extra blood. It's not the first splurt. It's the extra blood. Is that matzoi kamin liraboy saldama nefesh koi, to be more than the dama nefesh, the regular lifeblood of the carbon. Marsav shchiach, marsav lo shchiach, so you'll do shchiach. Therefore, there's no need for a gezerah. If you're lo shchiach, then you have to have a gezerah. Says more 1 second. The words work. According to Rav Zvid, I don't understand. According to Rav Zvid, Rav Eliezer argues, then why don't they just mix them together and teach both halachas as one? Why are they listed in 2 different cases? Says the Gemara, indeed, Kasha, we got to wait for Eliyahu Navi to answer that one. We're going to stop over here, and the next year we'll begin with the new Mishnah, Psiyata Dishmai.